Squeeze in, it's going to be tight.
Should I say that? Sure.
You're Josie.
I'm Josie. How are you?
McDaniel.
Yes, Daniel Birkin.
Keep squeezing on in, it's real tight. Squeeze on in. Plenty of space.
Where's the
Come on up front if
emphasis?
y'all
Burr
can.
kid.
Close in as tight as possible. Probably a little
Squeeze
bit more
on
space on
in.
the far side as well. Squeeze on in.
Come on in, John.
Don't stand there. Get up.
Come on.
There's a little bit more space on the far end if anyone would like to step over.
Thank you very much. What he said.
Yeah.
Anybody else like that? You all
Yeah,
good?
so people in the corner,
Yo,
if
come
you'd like
on,
to move over to the far side,
Come on, Jim.
especially some of the people in the back there who may be a little bit shorter. If not, so we
Come on,
can
y'all
get
come on
started.
in. Squeeze in over here. You don't want to be by Keller. You don't want to be by Keller. Where's Keller? Where's Keller?
Better roll.
All right, y'all, thank you very much. As you know, we have a storm coming. First thing I'd like to say is we are prepared. We've been through this so many times for hurricanes that the lines of communication are well known. The people know whom they're speaking with. Everybody's ready. Everybody knows to be alert. And we are as prepared as any group in the country, and a lot of people from other places say that. But the big difference is this is not a hurricane. In a hurricane, we know it's coming. We can see it on television, and we know that once it comes through, it's over. And typically, unless there are trees down keeping you in your house or electric lines, you can go up back out outside, or you can stay inside, and you won't be in danger. With this ice storm, it's going to be cold. It's liable to have all the power lines in the affected areas will be down. The ice will either bring the lines down or bring the tree limbs down on the lines. And you may be without electricity for maybe 4 days or maybe longer. That means you won't be able to recharge your cell phone. The utility, the refrigerator's going to go out. Not have any lights, likely won't have any heat. And because the roads are going to be icy in parts of the state for so long, it's going to be very difficult for someone to get to you. And if your cell phone's out and your landline is gone out and nobody can get to you, for 4 days, maybe, it could be rough. So one thing that we want to be sure is to tell everybody to look out for your neighbors, look out for your family. If your grandmama, your granddaddy, your aunts, uncles, anyone, if they're living alone or living in an isolated place, you're going to have to somehow check on them, go see them, do something, talk to them in advance, and make sure they're prepared. We don't want to have any young people, old people, animals, children. We don't want to have people that are inaccessible for 3 or 4 days, perhaps, without electricity, perhaps without water, perhaps without heat for that long a time. That's call that a disaster. So our emphasis is the neighbors, friends, neighbors, and family are really the best defense that we have to what is coming. Now, we hope it won't be as bad as this, but it could be worse than this. So this is something that a lot of us have not seen before. A lot of our people have never experienced. We have new people coming in and haven't seen a hurricane before. But a lot of people have come to South Carolina to get out of the cold weather, and they will find themselves in some, particularly in the upstate. Airports could be closed down. Again, the highways could be closed, likely. There's no place to go. Some folks have rented apartments or hotel rooms down on the coast to get away from the ice and cold. This could be in the upstate for sure, maybe in the Midlands. But other than that, there's no place that we can go. The President has approved my request for a federal emergency disaster declaration. So we do have that comfort that we have some help. FEMA is here. FEMA's been here with us in the hurricanes, excuse me, as well. And FEMA is here now, and we appreciate it, and they've been very, very responsive. I communicated with Secretary Nome yesterday about the assistance that we've asked for from Helene. A lot of it has already come, and more is coming. We'll have that same process this time as well, but that's not the answer. The answer to what is facing us now with this cold weather and the ice all over the roads, on the power lines, is a real danger that we have to handle ourselves. So we're prepared, we're ready to go, and we have a group that's going to speak to you, be able to answer questions, all of you, when we get to that point. So I'd like to start off. I want to thank Josie McDaniel Burkett and also her colleague Holly May. They are here signing for us as usual. We appreciate that very much. And now I'd like to call on the chaplain, Christina Pittman.
Thank you, sir. Please pause or join with me as I pray. O gracious God, I pray for your mighty hand of protection over all who are in the wake of this storm Fern. May our preparation, response, and recovery be blessed as we work together. From our government and civilian servants to our loved ones at home, please be a shield of safety and provision. May we embody and witness the fortitude of the human spirit, and all who call upon your name in time of trouble know your ever-present deliverance. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. John Quirello, National Weather Service.
Thank you, Governor. John Quirello with the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service is very concerned about the potential impacts to South Carolina from a large winter storm which will bring freezing rain and some sleet through Sunday night to parts of the state and frigid temperatures into early next week. The greatest impacts will occur across the upstate of South Carolina, where freezing rain will result in crippling ice accumulations up to 1/2 to 1 inch. This will be the most significant ice storm in the upstate since 2005, and this will not only be worse but also more widespread, causing extensive travel disruptions, prolonged power outages, and vast tree damage. Significant impacts are also expected elsewhere, extending through the Midlands and PD, generally along and north of the I-20 corridor, where 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice accumulation is expected. This much ice can still result in scattered power outages, hazardous travel, and cause tree limbs and power lines to sag. While amounts would be less, some freezing rain is still possible across parts of the coastal plain, with a light glaze on roadways, especially bridges and overpasses. As for timing, the greatest impacts will occur tonight through Sunday, potentially extending into Sunday night across the upstate and the northern Midlands. Temperatures have generally reached their highs for the day and should continue falling through this evening. Precipitation should increase in intensity overnight when the significant ice accumulations are expected to begin. Where temperatures remain at or below freezing, the ice accumulations will continue Sunday. Temperatures are expected to warm above freezing from the coastal plain through the Midlands Sunday afternoon and evening. However, sub-freezing temperatures could persist in the upstate through Sunday night. Temperatures will likely be above freezing throughout the state on Monday, helping to melt much of the remaining ice. However, a very frigid night is expected Monday night, with low temperatures ranging from 5 to 10 degrees in parts of the upstate, with teens across the Midlands and PD. With many power outages still likely, especially across the upstate where it will be the coldest, there is great concern for residents who will be without heat. Please take the situation seriously, follow the advice of local emergency managers, and stay updated on the latest forecast information from the National Weather Service at weather.gov. I also want to say, with many people expected to be without power, you might want to rely on NOAA Weather Radio, which actually has a backup feature by using batteries, so you still get weather information with NOAA Weather Radio. Thank you very much.
With what radio?
NOAA Weather Radio, sir. It's a network of radios the Weather Service has to provide hazardous weather information 24 hours a day. You could use it in remote locations, battery backup, so when you do lose power, like in this event, you can still be updated all the time.
Excellent. Thank you, John.
Sir.
Director Kim Stinson, Emergency Management Division.
Thank you, sir. As the governor said, Kim Stinson, State Emergency Management. Ice storms and severe cold impacts aren't really theoretical to South Carolina. John's already mentioned some of that. We had an ice storm in 2014. It was widespread rain and snow and caused significant damage across much of the state. And it led to hundreds and thousands power outages and major economic losses, including property damage and infrastructure impacts across multiple counties. And at the time, the 2014 ice storm was the largest disaster in South Carolina since Hurricane Hugo. So it's important for all of us to have emergency plans in place for whatever disaster situation we might find ourselves in, and in this situation is no different. We all need to be our own emergency managers. The window to get ready for winter weather is closing fast. Making sure your home and family are prepared for extreme cold, poor road conditions, and the potential for extended power outages by having enough bottled water and non-perishable food to sustain each family member for 3 days, having a weather radio, a flashlight, extra batteries and chargers, monitoring local National Weather Service forecasts and pay attention to alerts for winter storm watches, warnings, and advisories, following trusted, verified sources for the latest news, insulating pipes, exposed pipes especially, to help prevent freezing and bursting. If temperatures drop significantly, letting faucets drip a little overnight can help reduce the freezing risk. And certainly ensuring alternate heating sources are working and always using heating equipment outdoors, properly vented to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. Charging electric devices and cell phones ahead of any weather impact. And certainly, already mentioned, the governor did, check on your neighbors, especially the elderly and those with mobility challenges. Bringing pets indoors when possible and make sure they have access to water and shelter. And finally, avoid travel once precipitation begins. To help with planning, we encourage everybody to visit our website at fcemd.org, which has a wealth of information for individuals, families, and businesses in preparing for a winter weather situation, including a winter weather guide. And also we have the South Carolina Emergency Manager app to help families create emergency plans, manage their supplies, find shelters, and stay connected. And it's available free at the app stores. From an operational perspective, here at the State Emergency Operations Center, we're taking several actions. One is we've been activated and will be operational to coordinate the state response to this event throughout the duration. We are deploying several state emergency management personnel to counties as liaisons to provide information and assist local emergency managers. Our logistics system has been activated to assist local authorities, and that system has been validated extensively over the past several years. Currently, we are coordinating requests ranging from generators to food and water. And starting tomorrow, Sunday, South Carolina residents with questions about winter weather can call the state's toll-free winter weather hotline at 1-866-246-0133. That's 1-866-246-0133. And operators with that system will be available 24/7 to provide information to the state's response and safety precautions. The governor also already mentioned that we received a South Carolina federal emergency declaration that allows us to request federal assistance, primarily personnel and equipment at this point. No monetary piece of it right now, but that may come later. And then we have a designated federal coordinating officer who's embedded here in South Carolina, and that's Daryl Dragoo. And then finally, Team South Carolina has had a great deal of experience with preparing for, responding to, and recovering from disasters over the past several years. And this experience remains our greatest strength, and we will ensure our success moving forward in this particular operation. Thank you, sir.
Let me emphasize something Rick Stinson said, and that's that cell phone. If the power goes out, you're not going to be able to charge it up. So charge it up, keep it charged, fully charged, and then if the power does go out, you'll have only a limited amount of power. So don't waste the power on anything that's not essential, because you might be without power for 3 or 4 days, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very
sir.
much. Secretary Justin Powell, Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Governor. Justin Powell, Secretary of the South Carolina Department of Transportation. The SCDOT has been actively preparing for this event all week. Crews have been treating roads, staging equipment, and stockpiling supplies. We have 3,000 personnel working round the clock right now statewide through the duration of this storm. We have already put down over 1.5 million gallons of brine on our roadways, with a particular emphasis on our interstates, our highest traveled primary roads, and bridges and overpasses. Crews will continue to treat roads through the day as the storm approaches. I-85 has already been treated multiple times from the North Carolina line to the Georgia line, and all other interstate corridors in those areas have also been treated multiple times. As you've heard from the governor, this is expected to be a major ice event with dangerously cold temperatures to follow. We know that that means that travel will be hazardous, especially and potentially into next week. We know that we are going to do everything we can to keep roads open and drivers safe, but we need your help. Please prepare now for the possibility that you will not be able to leave your home for several days, and to be patient while our crews are working to reopen roads and clear debris from our roadways following the impacts of this storm. Our number one priority at SCDOT is keeping our people of South Carolina safe. And I want everyone at home to know that SCDOT is working at all resources to help deliver on that mission. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, sir. Major General Robin Stillwell, National Guard.
Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Major General Robin Stillwell, the Adjutant General of South Carolina. The National Guard is on duty. Currently, we have 375 personnel on duty from the Army National Guard, the Air National Guard, and the State Guard. We currently have manned, as of 0700 this morning, 14 vehicle recovery teams along roadways in South Carolina designated by the Highway Patrol. We also have called up and have on station additional general purpose troops in the counties that we anticipate will be affected. Those general purpose troops are there to fill gaps and seams in local authorities' recovery efforts, to provide security for shelters, to provide additional manning for EOCs, and to provide potentially transportation. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have debris clearance teams who are standing by from both the National Guard and the State Guard to help with clearing roadways after the storm has hit. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the main concerns that we have in this storm is transportation of citizens for medical attention or to shelters after the storm. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not ready for power outages or extreme cold, then please relocate or get to a shelter today. Today is easy. The roadways are clear. We can get you from your location to a shelter or to a safe space. If you or somebody you know does not have transportation, contact your local authorities, your EMS or your emergency managers, and you ask for transportation and it will be provided to you. The state will also provide resources from other state agencies or other counties that aren't impacted to help those transportation needs. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, after the storm has hit, transporting people, again for medical needs or to shelters, is going to be a much more difficult proposition. It will be much more difficult for local authorities and for emergency management to get to you. If you find yourself in a situation, you can call local emergency management and they will respond. The state is ready to provide additional assets and resources to augment and supplement local authorities. Those are either from other state agencies or from other counties that may not be impacted by the storm. We can also use the resources of the National Guard up to and including aviation assets, weather permitting. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, I implore you, if you are not ready for power outages or extreme cold, relocate or get to a shelter tomorrow. We will respond to your needs, no question, but it will be much, much more difficult tomorrow after the storm has hit. Ladies and gentlemen, this National Guard stands ready to assist local civilian authorities and to support our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General.
Yes, sir.
Director, and y'all remember, though, making those phone calls may be impossible if your cell phone's dead. Director Andrew Bateman, Office of Regulatory Staff.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Andrew Bateman with the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff. I want to reiterate much of what you've heard here today. This could be a potentially very dangerous ice storm with significant power outages and brutal cold following it. To that end, please prepare accordingly. Cell phones, please charge your cell phones all the way, have them charged through the storm to the extent possible in the event that communications may experience disruptions. Similarly, water and wastewater utilities could experience disruptions. You may want to fill jugs of water to the extent you need that at some point in time during the storm. I believe Kim Stinson mentioned earlier you may even want to have a slow drip on your faucet to help prevent your pipes from freezing. Make sure you have access to a heat source that you know how to safely and appropriately use. Again, this could be a very dangerous and long-lived ice storm. There may be significant power outages and limited ability to move from where you are once the storm hits. Please prepare accordingly and be safe. With that, I'd like to call up a few folks from utilities. Mr. Keller-Kassam.
Keller-Kassam, Dominion Energy, South Carolina. This storm is different. Back in 2014, we had Winter Storm Pax. That's the last time we faced ice in South Carolina. And it started in Aiken County. And where did it end up going? Dorchester and Colleton County. Every storm is going to be different. So if you live from Four Hole Swamp to Sassafras Mountain, you better be prepared for everything that the governor and General Stilwell have been talking about up to this particular point, because ice is the most unpredictable of all the elements when it comes to storms. So what have we been doing? Well, first of all, nobody talks about this storm, and the difference is it's going to be extremely cold after this storm. With ice storms that we've had before, the temperature warms up in South Carolina. That will not be the case over the next 10 days. So from a generation standpoint, we checked all the heat tracing on our generation units, because you've got to be able to generate electricity. And so heat tracing are these wires that provide thermal protection for all of the instrumentation we have at our plants. In addition to that, we put up wind blockage so you can't have the wind coming off those rivers that would increase the cold and the chill within those units. So that's for our coal plants, and then our natural gas plants, our combined cycle gas plants, as well as our gas peakers that will have to come on. People ask about solar. We have 1,100 megawatts of solar on our system. I checked before I came over here. It was producing 200 megawatts with the cloud cover. Not a whole lot. When we hit our peaks over the next 10 days, I promise you it'll be producing zero. I was in system control yesterday with one of our senior controllers, Jim Moore, and he was already conserving water in the reservoirs that we have at Parr, Lake Monticello, as well as Lake Murray, so that we can use that instantaneous water to make up for that non-dispatchable resource that we have interconnected into our system. In addition to that, we've got a 45-day supply of coal inventory that's been built up at our coal-fired plants. So at Cope and Orangeburg, at Williams and Berkeley County, as well as Wateree and Lower Richland, they're ready with that supply, and it's good to go look at that fuel and know it's already there. As far as transmission and distribution, tomorrow morning, in the wee hours of the morning, we will initiate Operation Rolling Restoration. That's when we will bring our seasoned, most veteran linemen at the forecast holes out of the Charleston area, Mount Pleasant, Hampton, Bluffton, Beaufort, Somerville, Walterboro. They will all be coming up I-26. We've coordinated with Secretary Powell and in his group, and we feel confident they'll be able to roll into the Midlands, where we feel like we'll have the most impacts on our system. As far as they also bring track equipment with them, and they also bring the helicopters. Governor McMaster saw that during Helene when we were at the Aiken Airport, and these will come. They have glass underneath the cockpit for patrolling, but they also have chop saws and the long extension saw, and they're outstanding for being able to get trees that might be laying up into our transmission. So that'll be important. The greatest risk we have facing our linemen are the same risks that you have, being on the road. We don't have any choice. You have a choice. Stay off the road if you do not need to be there. The second thing is fallen trees. Stay out from underneath tree branches. If you have a small limb that breaks and comes down from 40 feet, the velocity of it will make it feel 20 times heavier than what it is actually. So stay from underneath that as well. Beyond that, I will say use our company app. Everybody's talking about cell phones and cell phone use. Well, a lot of times you feel like you got to call into the call center and stay on the phone until you get somebody. Download the Dominion Energy app, and all you'll have to do through facial recognition is just tap a button, and it'll tell you my power is out. That's quick. It doesn't use up your telephone battery. And then we'll give you an estimated time of restoration on when we think you'll be back on, when we can, on a county-by-county basis. You know, a lot of you ask all the time, well, when did y'all start preparing for this? I'll tell you, 11 days ago was the first call I made to Executive Director Bateman. And we talk on a 10-day roll for what forecasts are going to be. And I appreciate all of his coordination in regard to that with mutual assistance and updating him. No sooner had I talked to him than I got a call from Secretary Powell talking about coordination, talking about roads, talking about where to push the debris. And the Department of Transportation in South Carolina got a national award last year for just simply pushing the debris, people don't think about this, away from the side of the road from the power lines. So just something along those lines. Tom Allen and Emergency Management representing the utilities. Everybody you see up here behind the governor, he has one directive to us: communicate, coordinate, and collaborate. And through all of Team South Carolina, we will do that. This will be a difficult time for South Carolina, but Team South Carolina always comes through, and we will again. So you should be concerned, but you need to take your fear and your anxiety and turn it in the opportunity to prove who is my neighbor and serve those who are most vulnerable during this time. May God bless you and keep you safe.
Thank you.
Mr. Tim Pearson with Duke.
Thanks, Andrew, and thanks, Governor. I'm Tim Pearson. I'm the president of Duke Energy South Carolina. I have a lot of experience following Keller, and that means usually a lot of the things I was going to say get said right before me. But I will echo what the governor has said and what Keller has said and a number of folks up here. This is a really serious event we have coming our way, and in many ways, ice is the greatest enemy of power delivery. You know, we have lots of different types of events that cause trees to fall down and trees fall on power lines. The added layer here with ice is that it can accumulate on the power lines and they will fall under their own weight. So we are expecting a lot of power outages, you know, over the days to come. And I echo everybody's sentiment that be safe, stay inside. If you see a down power line, don't go anywhere near it. But what I'd also like to make sure everyone understands is that we're ready for this at Duke Energy. At the moment, we have 18,000 line workers and vegetation management folk prepared to execute on recovery as soon as the event is over. They come from 27 states and Canada. We have them staged all across our system. We have them throughout South Carolina, and they're ready. As soon as we know where the greatest areas of damage and where they can do the best work the fastest, they will be there. So again, stay safe. It's going to be cold. The power's going to go out, but we'll get it on as quickly as we can and as safely as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Mr. Jimmy Staten, Santee Cooper.
Good afternoon. I'm Jimmy Staten, President and CEO of Santee Cooper. I want to echo everything that that Keller and Tim just talked about. I don't want to replicate what they've said. Santee Cooper is ready. However, we are prepared. Most of our residential and commercial customers are in Horry, Georgetown, and Berkeley County, which does not appear to be as affected as the Midlands and the upstate of South Carolina will be. So we hope that stays true for our residential and commercial customers, but hope is not a plan. And so with our plan, we have over 190 resources in those three areas, throughout those three areas, ready to begin restoring service. More importantly, and what I think will continue to be more important, is if those areas are not as affected, we will release those folks to help out elsewhere in the state. Santee Cooper also operates a vast transmission network. That is our largest concern about this particular storm. As Tim said, ice is the worst thing for transmission lines. So we are concerned about that. We've reached outside the state to bring in additional resources, combine that with our team. We have over 175 folks spread throughout the state ready to begin restoring service, including helicopters with saws, tree crews, line crews. We are prepared, and we will continue to update everyone about how the transmission lines are affected. And then we've talked about this. This is going to be incredibly cold, coming right on the heels of this. Santee Cooper's fleet of generation is up and running, ready to serve. We have every unit operating. Like Keller said, we've done all of the cold weather preparation. We've done all of our cold weather inspections, and they are ready to operate so that when there are outages and we restore those outages, we will be able to serve people immediately. And so again, I just ask everyone to stay safe. God bless all of our customers. God bless the people of South Carolina. We will get through this together, and Team South Carolina is going to be here to ensure that happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. And Mr. John Frick with the co-ops.
My name is John Frick. I work with the Electric Cooperatives of South Carolina. This is a big storm. Your co-ops are ready. We've got 1,400 people who are pre-staged. It's an unprecedented level of pre-staging and preparation that we have done. We've got people from as far away as Montana and Oregon to help us. All the materials that have been requested have been delivered. They're there right now. So when it's safe, our folks can roll out and get restorations done. Please know, you may be restored and your power may go back out again. That's how ice storms work. And so the governor, thank you for bringing that to everybody's attention. This is an ongoing event. As you have things melt, things move, and when things move, they can fall, and you can have outages that occur because of melting and because of refreezing. Cooperatives serve some of the toughest areas in South Carolina to get to and to serve. If you are at the end of a long country road and you can't get out, we can't get in. And so just ask your patience as we do our very best. We will not rest. We will not stop until we have this, all of the power is restored. And we just ask for you to, in addition to keeping yourself safe, please be mindful of the people who are working to restore power. Please do not connect any sort of generator to your house if you do not have a proper kill switch or a proper breaker to keep that from backfeeding onto the system. That can endanger workers. So just know we will not stop until this is restored. We're ready to go, and we ask for everybody's patience and diligence as we work this outage.
Thank you, John. What you said reminded me of something. Excuse me. If you live out in the country and there's somebody's grandmama's down at the end of that long road and nobody can get there, put on your boots and take your dog and just walk on down there, knock on the door and see how she's doing. We don't want to overlook anyone who's not able to communicate with us. Okay. Robert Woods.
Thank you, Governor. I'm Rob Woods, Director of the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. The men and women of DPS stand ready to respond along with the rest of Team South Carolina. Starting today, we have 537 Highway Patrol, State Transport Police officers, SLED agents, and DNR officers, as well as 14 vehicle recovery teams from the National Guard, as Major General Stillwell mentioned. They're all mobilized and in support of the Traffic Incident Response Mission. If you can avoid getting out during and after this storm, please stay home. I know that's already been emphasized a number of times, but it cannot be emphasized enough. There is simply no safe way to drive on icy roads. Not only can it be dangerous, trust me when I tell you, it can be deadly. If you can't avoid traveling, and there are those circumstances we understand where people can't avoid traveling, please follow these recommendations. First of all, know what the road conditions are. You can refer to the SCDOT 511 app. It is a wonderful resource. It'll tell you what the conditions are before you leave home. Once you're on the road, just like in any conditions, adverse road conditions, slow down, increase your following distance, and be aware of other drivers that aren't as attentive as you are. Last thing to remember, and this again has been mentioned a number of times, make sure you got your cell phone charged and you communicate your travel plans, including your destination and your estimated time of arrival, with a friend or a family member so that they know when to expect you. So if you don't show up, then we know to start looking for you. Becoming stranded in a vehicle with no heat, again, is extremely dangerous and can very quickly become deadly. We're ready to assist the people of South Carolina, but we are asking for you to take the warnings from your local and state authorities seriously over the next few days. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. South Carolina Department of Social Services. Tony?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor. I'm Tony Catone, the State Director for the Department of Social Services. Our mass care team, along with our partners at the Department of Public Health, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and Southern Baptist Disaster Relief, are supporting county shelters across the state in anticipation of the coming storms. As of 1:30 today, South Carolina currently has 21 total shelters open, 13 general population shelters, and 8 medical equipment power shelters open across the state. Vulnerable citizens are reaching out. We continue to work with the Department of Public Health with the operation of medical equipment power shelter sites. Shelter locations and decisions, just as a reminder, are driven by local county emergency management requests and not a decision made at the state level by the Department of Social Services. I'm going to read now the address of each shelter location that's currently open, and I'm going to repeat it.
About how many are there?
Currently open, there are 13 general population shelters, Governor. Anderson County, the Civic Center of Anderson, 3027 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Anderson. Once again, that's at the Civic Center of Anderson, 3027 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Anderson. Cherokee, Kirby Memorial Baptist Church, that's 512 Chandler Street in Gaffney. Once again, Kirby Memorial Baptist Church, 512 Chandler Street in Gaffney. Another one in Cherokee, Hopewell Baptist Church, 511 Old Chester Road in Blacksburg. That's Hopewell Baptist Church, 511 Old Chester Road in Blacksburg. Chester, Chester Middle School, 1014 McCandless Road in Chester. That's Chester Middle School, 1014 McCandless Road in Chester. Second one in Chester, Great Falls War Memorial Building, 401 Dearborn Stephen, Great Falls. Great Falls War Memorial Building, 401 Dearborn Street, Great Falls. Greenville, Hillcrest High School, 3665 South Industrial Drive in Simpsonville. Hillcrest High School, 3665 South Industrial Drive in Simpsonville. Laurens, Laurens County Ag Center, 137 Fairgrounds Road in Laurens. That's Laurens County Ag Center, 137 Fairgrounds Road in Laurens. Newberry, Gallman Elementary School, 255 State Road S36-400 in Newberry. Gallman Elementary School, 255 State Road S36-400 in Newberry. The first one in Spartanburg, Campobello Shelter, 255 South Main Street in Campobello. That's the Campobello Shelter, 255 South Main Street in Campobello. Second one in Spartanburg, High Point Academy, 6655 Pottery Road in the city of Spartanburg. That's High Point Academy, 6655 Pottery Road in the city of Spartanburg. Third one in Spartanburg, G.B. Hodges Center, 365 Hodge Drive, also in the city of Spartanburg. That's the G.B. Hodges Center, 365 Hodge Drive, also in the city of Spartanburg. Fourth one in Spartanburg, Spartanburg Memorial Auditorium, 385 North Church Street in the city of Spartanburg. That's Spartanburg Memorial Auditorium, 385 North Church Street in the city of Spartanburg. Fifth one in Spartanburg, Benjamin E. Mays Center, 850 Sunny Acres Road in Pacolet. Once again, that's the Benjamin E. Mays Center, 850 Sunny Acres Road in Pacolet. For medical equipment power shelters, locations, and medical support, such as power for equipment like oxygen generators, refrigerated medicine, or other medical needs, please call the Department of Public Health triage line at 1-833-351-9990. Once again, 1-833-351-9990. They'll direct you from there. There are additional general population shelters planning to be open later this evening. Those addresses will be listed on the EMD website when they are available. Standby locations will be opened as counties make decisions and inform our team that they're ready to receive clients. Once the shelter is open and ready for shelterees, their locations are advertised on SCEMD's website, www.scemd.org, under the Emergency Shelters tab. This information is also available through the SC Emergency Manager mobile application. Counties are also publishing press releases to local stations and on social media of their timelines to open shelters. We need our partners in the media here to publicize shelter locations and information through all channels, print, radio, television, and internet, to get those locations and the word out. Do not hesitate to reach out to the County Emergency Operations Centers if you're not sure where your nearest open shelter is located. They'll direct you to the nearest place to seek refuge. Numbers are listed on the SCEMD website. Please do not wait until it's not safe to move to get to a shelter if you're worried about yourself and especially your pets. All shelters will support you and your pets. Whether your pet can stay right next to you in the shelter or a nearby facility, all shelters are pet friendly and will provide support for you and your pet. The last thing we want is for someone to not go to a shelter because they think that they can't take their pet. Go to a shelter if you need a shelter, and your pet will be provided for. We recommend evacuees bring blankets, sleeping bags and pillows, medications, and any special foods if you're on a restricted diet for up to 7 days. We have partners supplying food and water for all operating shelters. Shelter information can be found once again at scemd.org. Shelter staff are available to assist with coordinating accommodations and support for persons with functional and access needs. As I said earlier, all locations that we support are pet friendly. So people should not have a concern if they show up to a shelter with a pet. It's preferred that people bring their own pet supplies, but if they cannot, our team will help connect them with local resources. Please do not wait until it's too cold for you or your pet, because at that point it's already impacting your pet, likely more. For pets, we'd like for you to please try to bring leashes, food, and comfort items to help keep your animal calm. Food is the most important because, as we all know, pets don't like having to change foods or their diet, even briefly. We can find resources, but bringing your own will always help most. Team South Carolina is ready. Take good care of yourselves.
Thank you. I appreciate you repeating those numbers.
Yes, sir, Governor.
Addresses. Thank you. Okay. Fire Marshal Jonathan Jones.
Good afternoon. I think, as you've heard, a common theme today has been preparedness. And as part of your emergency preparations, I want to encourage you to check your smoke alarms prior to power outages. If power does go out and you choose to use a generator, I want to encourage you to never run a generator indoors. Always run a generator outdoors, and make sure that it is at least 20 feet away from doors, windows, and other ventilation openings. Never use a generator in an attached garage. Before refueling a generator, make sure you shut it down and allow it to cool. If you are using a portable generator, you want to make sure you have either battery backup or battery operated carbon monoxide alarms in your home. And make sure that you never overload a generator. I want you to make sure that you take precautions as part of your preparedness, and that especially is when it comes to using alternative heating sources. If you have a fireplace, you want to make sure that you have a good supply of dry seasoned wood, and place any of your ashes in a metal container before placing outside to cool and dispose of. Keep fire extinguishers on hand and make sure your family knows how to use them. Properly vent fuel-fired heaters, such as propane or kerosene heaters, to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. And remember that space heaters need space. Keep space heaters at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn or catch fire. If the lights do go out, I encourage you to use battery-operated flashlights instead of candles. But if you do use candles, please make sure that you place them in a sturdy candle holder and on a flat surface, and keep them away from anything that can burn. Don't leave candles burning overnight when you go to bed, and make sure that when you go to bed that you close before you doze. Close the bedroom door before you close to help retain heat in the room that you're sleeping in, as well as it will compartmentalize a fire should one occur. I want to encourage you to, of course, go to EMD's website, but also the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation also has an emergency landing page at llr.sc.gov/emergency. You can also find citizen safety guides at firesafe.sc.gov. And the South Carolina State Fire stands ready to support local authorities with any of their needs through the South Carolina Firefighter Mobilization Program, through the Emergency Response Task Force, and through any kind of incident support needed by local jurisdictions. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we tried to answer all the questions anyone listening might have, or listening or watching. But if anyone has a question, we'd be glad to answer it for you. Hearing none, thank you very much.